Happy New Year, Chair, and obviously we're here again to try and update the fans the best that we can, and obviously get out as much information and keep everybody up to date. At the end of September, there we were watching David Flitcroft get the Manager of the Month award, and all of a sudden 2 months later we're letting him go. David is fully aware it was a result-based business, but at the same time it must have been a very hard task for you, bearing in mind the excellent relationship you had with him.
Yeah, I did. I think a relationship between your chairman and manager has to be key, and I just felt as though we'd come a little bit off the track of where we wanted to go as a club, and I think obviously the results wasn't fantastic. The performances I didn't think were up to the level that we certainly set ourselves as a football club, and it was a very hard decision to make, but sometimes that's what you've got to do in businesses. You've got to make them hard decisions, and I'm making the decisions that I believe are right and they're the best for Bury Football Club, and that's what I'm here to do, is to make them right decisions, and I believe I will. We'll see in the future that I've made the right one.
Obviously, when David was obviously released, we received many applications between us, and I think at one point we topped it up to be about 64 applications in total. But then obviously we've appointed Brassy to take the head role at the moment. Is that anything to do with consistency? Is that key to you at the moment? It
was people that knew the players, people also that knew our academy system as well. I'd spent a lot of time and we spent a lot of money investing into our academy system. That was one of the main reasons when I got involved with the football club 3.5 years ago, was to develop the youth system and academy system throughout, and it was something there where we've had to do huge changes within that system. We've retained one member of staff since we've inherited it, and it's been a complete transformation about not only from the staffing level, but also about the philosophy of the club as well, right through down to the under 8s, and the recruitment process of the players coming in, how the training sessions, the quality of the facilities, which is key. We've now, the training facilities that the academy have is key to us, with Carrington, and they use another facility at Hacking Lane, which are top draw facilities, which helps with the recruitment. And I'd seen from our youth players that we've got some really good, talented kids coming through this system, and I wanted to give them the opportunity to be able to get in and around the first team. And it's too easy sometimes to go out there and sign a player from another football club, or to get a player in on loan and not trust and believe in your own players. And certainly with Chris Brass and Ryan Kidd, they knew what the capabilities was with our young players, and you've seen them come in recent weeks and done incredibly well. And it was also Chris and Ryan knew the first team players as well, and I didn't want somebody coming in who was just going to come into the club and start to rip out what we've been trying to set for the last 3.5 years, and the successes that we've had with developing players, and also with the work that's gone in, and keep the continuity about progressing to the next level. As I said, I think we've come a bit off of the track previously, and both Chris and Ryan, I believed in them to go take us forward of where we can take the football club again.
Obviously, with your comments there about Chris and Ryan, it's obviously they've gone and put a lot of trust and faith in, particularly for youngsters, and obviously put them in the first team, and we have been repaid with some fine performances. Your long-term plan always has been was to invest in the youth and obviously produce kids that obviously will feature the first team and obviously have an asset value to sell on as well. Do you think that's going to be repaid soon then?
I think you've seen it now. I mean, the 4 players that you talk about now, they're having an impact in the first team, and they're keeping the shirt on merit as well. You look at the likes of George Miller, who's come in. I think he's got 5 goals in 14 appearances. I think he's only made 4 starts out of them 14 appearances as well. And he's a real bright light for the future. So I can see him. He's one that we've got a lot of hope for. Also Scott Burgess as well. He's come in, he's done incredibly well, and he's playing above his years at the moment. He's Scott. And then you've got Callum Stiles and Jacob Badu, and both are hugely talented players. They've got a very, very bright future in the game, and both are attracting a lot of interest from top Premier League clubs at the moment.
Obviously, it's not just the kids that we're attracting interest from. Obviously, one of the key players that you was always keen to bring in is Vaughan. Obviously, scored 16 in 21 appearances at the moment. What do you think about him at the moment?
he's on fire. People probably questioned my decision when we saw Leon Clark in the summer as to moving Leon on, and I felt it was the right time for us as a club that we would maybe sell Leon on and to try and get the price that we did. We did successfully well to try and do that business, and it was an aim of mine then to bring in another top striker to the football club. And I know of James Vaughan, I know what he's been capable of. I've watched him play a lot of times throughout his career, and when the opportunity arose that I could bring James into the football club, and bearing in mind we brought James in on a free transfer as well, I know that he's one of the best strikers, if not the best striker in this division for me. His goals to game ratio, like you say, 16 goals in 21 appearances is unbelievable. And he's somebody that we brought into this football club to help take us to the next level. He's only 28 years old. His attitude is absolutely first class. But I'm sure James will tell you that the work of his strike partners as well and the teammates have been enabling him to get these goals as well. And a lot of the work that Tom Pope does off the ball as well is enabling him to get these chances. And he's a real good finisher. But people say to me, are we going to sell him? We're not looking to sell James Vaughan. We're looking to try and build a team that is successful and get us to the next level. And James Vaughan's a big part of that. And that's one of the reasons why we recruited him, because he had the same burning ambition. He's a winner. And like ourselves, we want to be winners.
One thing you just hit on there was the fact that obviously, we're not picking out individuals, it's more of a team performance, and obviously everybody's pulling together. Obviously, do you think recently that, since Brassy or whatever's come in charge, the team seems to be more solid now, it seems to be performing together, and obviously a real belief in themselves at the minute, and especially, you must have been really, really proud after the Peterborough performance, and obviously, the battling on the Friday night down at Port Vale. Do you think that now the team is starting to move forward?
Yeah, there's a real belief in the squad. There's a real belief in what we're trying to achieve, and even when we're going through the difficult spells of the defeats, and it was hard. Nobody, certainly me, I don't want to lose games. That's not about me. I want to win every game, and it's hard. And I think around Carrington, around the training complex, the lads were. There was a positivity, and even external people that were coming into Carrington saying how positive the environment was, and that's something we've tried to make sure is there now. That positivity, and watching us against Peterborough, I've seen that being able to come because we've been able to score goals in games. We've been performing against Scunthorpe. We were probably unlucky against Scunthorpe not to take something out of the game. I thought Sheffield United at home, if we get that penalty decision, the game's a different game. And I know people talk about if, buts and maybes, but I think that we've had a bit of bad luck as well. Certainly with the injuries has been a key thing for us, the amount of injuries we've had to the squad this season, and that's something that we're trying to bring these players back in as quick as we can, but it's got to be brought in at the right time so they don't get injured again.
Talking about injuries, there is a fact that through necessity in many ways, we've ended up with quite a large squad at the moment, with obviously not many days left to the transfer window closing. Will we see people leaving, do you think, or is the squad settled at the moment?
No, the squad's probably too big at the moment. We anticipate, we know that, and sometimes it's a bit of a chicken and egg scenario. You've got to bring a couple of players in, and when you've got availability to bring a couple of players in, you do that, and maybe you then it forces you to maybe move one or two players out as well. And I'm sure before the transfer window ends that there'll be maybe one or two players that might be leaving as well. And the deal's got to be right for us as a club, and whether that's somebody going out on loan or whether that's somebody going out with a transfer fee, the deal's got to be right for Bury Football Club as well, and that's something that we've got to make sure it's right. So the squad is probably a little bit bigger than what we want, and myself and Chris and the coaching staff have discussed this to try and see where we can maybe move one or two players out over the course of the next week. But it's something that we look at. We've had the opportunity to bring a couple of players in, which we feel makes the squad better as well and more competitive. So that's what we've been able to do.
Two names to throw at you now. Obviously, creating a lot of interest and a lot of press and a lot of positivity as well. Is first of all Jermaine Pennant. Obviously, he's just done a very good Sky interview, and obviously in the national press there. top name, top signing. His experience is second to none. How did you get him to come to Bury, and most importantly, when will he start?
Jermaine, he's had a career where he's played for all the top clubs, and you look at the transfer fees he's commanded over the course of his career. His talent is first class. He's came into training. He has to come in to keep himself fit, and his talent was there for everyone to see. And the work that he puts in, he was committed to it, and we wanted to see him, and he wanted to see us in terms of it. And he came in to watch the game against Peterborough, and came off his own accord really to come and watch that game. And he didn't have to come in, and he wanted to come down and watch it and see the lads, and he really felt part of the group as well. And we wanted to try and see if there was something we could do to strike a deal between the two clubs, between ourselves and Jermaine, and with him being a free agent as well. We managed to get the deal right where everybody was happy with the deal, and he was committing ourselves to the end of the season. And I'm sure he'll have a big impact in the squad. Not only from on a match day, he'll have a big impact in terms of the training, what he did, the way that he carries himself, the extras that he does after training. He works tirelessly on his set pieces as well, and the younger lads will learn from that as well. Learn from how he to play at the Premier League level. I mean, he's played a Champions League final, and to play at that level, this is what you've got to do to be. To keep that commitment there, you've got to keep on working hard. So him coming to the club boosts us as well, and sometimes it raises the bar in training as well, and the standards that we set. So he's come in, and thankfully his international clearance has now come through, so he's available for this weekend's fixture.
Brilliant, great news. And the second name, obviously, Lowe.
Yeah.
Lowe's back.
Yeah.
Obviously the fans will be more than excited. But one question which obviously it's obvious you're going to get asked is, why did he leave in the first place?
I think with Ryan, I brought him back to the football club for his second time with us, but the first time with myself, and I signed him from Tranmere. I wanted to bring him back into the club, and obviously he was a big part of our promotion push from League 2 to League 1, and he was somebody that we wanted to he's a legend at the football club, and I know what he's like around the place. I know what he's like with the fans. I know the relationship that he's got, and I've always had a very good relationship with Ryan, and I'm sure Ryan will tell you that as well. It was something where at the end of the season, Ryan wanted to continue his playing career as well, and he felt as though he could continue that playing career and be a starter for a team. And probably we felt as a squad that he probably wouldn't be a starter, with the likes of where we was going to go, and obviously now bringing in, you've got James Vaughan, Tom Pope and George Miller, who were up there as the strikers, and Ryan probably wouldn't get a regular starting appearance. So I understood it from a footballing reason that also Ryan wanted to continue playing that. But it was always, we've kept in regular dialogue between us. We always spoke, talked about things, and we both speak very, very passionately about football and have our ideas about football. And I talked to him about games that we'd been to see as well, and I always knew he had a burning ambition to get into coaching. That was something that was a big thing for him. I think he always wanted to probably finish his playing career at Bury Football Club. I think that was the desire for Ryan. But it needed to be right for all clubs, and we made an approach to Crewe in November to ask him to see if we could try and sign him. Crewe at the time didn't want to let him go. They thought that they needed Ryan and needed him to get into the January transfer window, and obviously they've had a change of manager, and sometimes that changes where the squad's going to go, and I think it was just a case of being a bit patient with Ryan. He's obviously been able to speak to Crewe, and Crewe have said that he can thankfully go, and it was always his idea and ambition to come back to us and he come in a player coaching capacity this season. And the one thing that we've looked at with Ryan is how can he work with the kids. We've got some real talented players coming through, like I say, we've George Miller, we've got Rob Arker, we've got Will Ferry, we've got Joe Adams. These players really excite me for the future as well, and somebody like Ryan Lowe spending time on the coaching and on the training ground with them is only going to improve them. So that's part of the philosophy that we've done. We've got the fantastic facilities at Carrington, we've got good coaching staff, and Ryan wants to be part of that, but he also wants to be part around the first team on a match day. So he'll be I'm sure on Saturday when the fans come back and Ryan comes back into it, he feels as though he's come home, and it's the second time I brought him back, so hopefully I don't have to do it for the third time.
Obviously, we've touched on before about the positivity around the place, the team pulling together. Obviously, the results are getting better on the pitch. We've never ever considered relegation. It's only onwards and upwards. You know, what are your thoughts on basically league position and where we're heading?
We're mindful of where we are. We know where we are in the league. You know, that's not being disrespectful in terms of saying, well, you know, we're in the relegation zone. We know that, but we also know there's a lot of games still to play. 18 games, I think, left to play, and we know what this squad is capable of. And you've seen teams put runs together, and you climb up the table. We believe that we can go on a run. We believe we've got the players capable enough of doing that with the squad. And you know, at Port Vale on Friday night, we probably wasn't as good as what we can be, but it showed the determination of us to get back and battle back to get a point where Port Vale are being very strong at home this season. So it just shows, you know, that the lads wanted to, and they were disappointed after the 2-2 draw, not to get all 3 points. And this is something that they want to take into. They want to put a run together. They want to climb up the league table, and I'm sure that's the ambition of where we want to go as a football club. Is we want to try and get as high as we can this season and pull ourselves away from the relegation zone. So yes, we are looking upwards, but we are mindful of where we are in the league position as well.
Obviously, off the pitch, two key things to address is number one is Carl Evans. Obviously, we've appointed a new chief exec. His experience in the industry is obviously very well documented and is probably second to none. What is it that Carl's going to bring to the table that's different for Bury Football Club?
It's something that we've been looking for a while, to try and bring in somebody with that experience that Carl's got. We looked in different areas in terms of where it is, but they've got to be right, and they've also got to understand where we are as a club and what we want to try and set out and the vision of the club. I think there's a lot of times where people get a bit stale in terms of other clubs with ideas, and we want to try and be a forward-thinking club. And Carl's had fantastic experience, 26 years at Manchester United. He's done probably involved in every part of the business from that 26 years of what they've done and achieved at Man United. So his contacts are exceptional. The standards that he sets are the standards that we want to set as a football club. So it was, I believe, is a fantastic appointment for us, and he'll do a lot of the day-to-day running of the business, which is away from the football side of things, and he'll be able to really drive forward where we want to go to the club and the aspirations that we've got as a club, and I'm sure you'll see some positive changes over the next few months.
Obviously, the last thing to address, and I know that unfortunately we are a little bit restricted because of legal obligations and things, but obviously the stadium move has always been key to you. Obviously the youth and the investment and the strategy forward has been one of the priorities, but the second one is obviously a stadium move. Being realistic, how far away do you think we are to announcing something?
Yeah, I mean, part of the plan when I came into the club was we wanted to make this a sustainable business, and 3.5 years ago we didn't have anybody coming in which was in the youth academy in the system. We were languishing in League 2 and didn't have a great start in League 2, and we've talked about other clubs that have not been able to progress. It's difficult to do that. We've had to put an investment in to be able to turn things around, and you know, you'll see the rewards hopefully of what we're trying to do off the pitch and on the pitch as well coming to fruition. But the stadium move is key in terms of where we want to be as a business, because unfortunately we can't do the facilities that we've got. I think we're the only club in League 1 that doesn't have corporate boxes. Our facility rooms are not to the levels that we want it to be, and we lose a lot of match day revenue from that. And we've got to try and improve the facilities. You know, that we all love Gig Lane. It's a great stadium. It's fantastic, but sometimes you've got to change, and that change has got to be right, and where we want to go as a club. And certainly with what we've got planned, the income that will be coming in from the facilities will help sustain the football club to drive it even further forward. And We're also looking to go in for planning on the front phase of Gig Lane shortly as well, which again it'll benefit the football club because the rental income that'll be obtained from that will come into the football club. So this isn't something where Stewart Day or one of my companies is going to be able to have the ownership of the front of Gig Lane and we get the rental income. That rental income is going to come into the football club and it's going to be able to help. It'll help with financial fair play. It helps with the salary cost management. So it's something that we've got to try and do, and we've got to improve facilities. You know, a business that stands still, that's what it does, it stands still. And if we can't make improvements, and I think in 3.5 years we've made vast improvements, but it's only the start. We've got to keep on progressing, we've got to keep on developing. We're currently in legals on a piece of land for the new stadium site. Hopefully that'll get we'll get to where we want to be very shortly on that, and we'll be able to come and do an announcement. And sometimes that takes a little bit longer than what we anticipate to do. Sometimes it's looking at different schemes and different ideas and sitting down with the architects and looking at plans, and it takes a little bit longer than what we've got to do, and this is why, and it also costs money as well. So there's a plan in place, and it's hopefully going to come to fruition where we can be able to come and announce something to the public very shortly and to the fans and say this and this is where we want to go and this is what we're trying to do. But it's all for the benefits of the club, for the sustainability going forward.
So just for clarity there, obviously one thing that you did say was obviously we are looking to do some development on the current site. That is in the name of Bury Football Club, and Bury Football Club will own the assets and everything.
Without a doubt, what we're trying to plan to do is we're going in for some planning for some retail units and some residential units as well, and that'll be owned by Bury Football Club. That'll be owned by the business, and that rental income that we're going to obtain from that is going to come into the football club, and which will improve us on an annual basis as well. And it also improves us as an asset base. You know, that we've got a lot of dead land sat here at the moment, and we need to improve the facilities and improve the asset. So that's something we've got to try and do, which also then helps improve the business going forward as well. And that's for me, is we've got to take it to the next level now. You know, we've put the foundations in place, we've put the structures in place, and now we've got to kick on. And you know, I know for a football fan, winning games on a Saturday is the most important thing. But it's also how can we actually get the sustainability of the business. And if we don't invest into it, we can't turn it around, and that's what we've got to do now.
Just talking, obviously last question, and just talking about your investment strategy, I don't think many of the fans actually appreciate that every year, even though you invest money in the club, you also write the money off. So basically you transfer it into equity and shares, obviously benefit the club. You projected that we've peaked at our losses, and obviously the accounts are going to go in this week and showing that each year the losses are getting less and less. When do you think, looking forward, we will, you know, get down to the figure that you're happy with?
I'd hope within the next 2 years. I think that's a sensible achievement. I think in the next 2 years you'll see some real differences in terms of where the club is. I always said, when I set out from day one, I said it was a 5-year plan. I always said that. Might take 6 months longer than that, 8 months longer than that, because of things that sometimes are outside of your control with it. But I always said it was going to be a 5-year plan. And that 5-year plan is where we want it to be. And now, you know, I've had fans come up to me and say, you know, it's great we've got youth players in our first team. It's great that we're doing that. That was part of the plan. You know, I think you look at my interview that I did 3.5 years ago when we took over the club, is to say we wanted to invest into the youth academy. We wanted to invest into training facilities. We've done that. So the youth academy is something that we've got a huge pride of, and the 4 players that are in the first team, that's just the first crop. You know, let me tell you, we've got a whole host of players that are behind that who are also coming through the system as well, who I'm excited about, and I'll go watch them play, and I'm excited about where they can take the club, and we want to get them into the first team as well. We've turned down bids from clubs now for some of these players because we believe that they can get into the first team, and we'll sell them at the right time for the football club. You know, it's now at the moment there's a lot of interest obviously in the players that I mentioned, in Jacob Badu as well. There's a lot of interest in him, and it'll be sold at the right level for the football club at the right time for the football club, and that's what we're going to do. And you know, we've seen it with other clubs as well that have been able to sell players on, and then they've got sell-on clauses with other clubs that are in our division. You see recently Charlton Athletic sell a player to Everton, and they get £7.5 million for that player, and we're competing with them in the league. You see also now even the likes of Rochdale. I'm sure when Scott Hogan, if he does move from Brentford, I think they've got a sell-on clause with that, and I'm sure it's a great boost for them to be able to get that income coming through.
Should be over £1 million for them.
Without a doubt, and that's the thing that this football club hasn't had. It hasn't had it for 17, 18 years. It stood still in that time period where it's not produced players, it's not been able to sell players on. It's not really had that sort of plan to say, right, how can we create this as a sustainable business? And we're not talking about selling players being part of that sustainable business, but it is part of the business. It is part of the role. And like I said before, I touched on it, we sold Leon Clark. And we sold him, we believe, at the right time for us. And we brought in James Vaughan. That's where we want to try and evolve the business and go to the next level. And we've always said that 5-year plan was where we wanted to try and be. Like I said, it might take 6-7 months longer because of things, but I think in the next 2 years the business will see the losses come down even further because of the work that's been put into place as a foundation. And you go by any business that isn't performing and it hasn't got the workload that's coming in, you need to probably invest money into it to turn the business around, and that's what we've done. So for the football club of where we want to go, we want to try and get this club where there's a real buoyancy within the town. We want a real atmosphere. We want the fans to come down in the numbers. And I'm not critical of the numbers in terms of it. We've had low attendances, but we know we've also had good attendances. And I know what fans want. They want to watch attractive football. They want to watch enjoyable football, and that's what we want to try and create. And so that's what we've got to do. We've got to do that. And certainly the last home game against Peterborough was an entertaining game of football for us, and that's what we want to try and do. And we want the fans to come down in the numbers. We want them to come down on Saturday against Walsall and get really behind the lads and really behind the team, because let's do this together. Let's push up the table together. Let's work together and show the commitment of where we can take the football club as well. And I'm excited about the future. Bringing Carl Evans on and bringing what we've done in the work and behind the scenes, I'm excited about it. And I know fans will have their... there's only so much we can say sometimes, and I know it's sometimes frustrating for them, but we're trying to run a business here, and it's difficult to try and to come out and say everything what we've got ongoing. We're trying to make sure that we can be do all the work behind the scenes and get it right, and that's where we want to be as a club. And I'm sure over the next 5 years we'll be able to kick on and take it to the next level.
So no regret?
No regrets at all. I live for watching us play. I love watching us play. I love going into Carrington. I want to win every game. You saw more so than ever on Friday night how frustrated I was because I felt
that barrier still
yeah. I think the Port Vale barrier's got a bit of a dent, because I felt as though we could win the game. I felt as though we should win the game, and I want to win every game. That's how I am, and but I've got a huge amount of confidence with this squad, and certainly with the coaching staff. I've got a huge amount of confidence with them, and I trust them in terms of what we can do, and I believe in them, and they've got to understand that the fans believe in them as well. And if we can put this run together, who knows where we can end up as a season. And no regrets. Tough times, but if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. It's tough times, and I speak to a lot of other chairmen and owners, and they all say to me, they find it tough with whatever they're doing as well at their other business in the football clubs, and they say it's tough. So it's not easy, and it's difficult trying to get it right. And but I think we've done a lot more right than we've done wrong over this 3.5 year period, and now we want to try and take it to make it improve even more so. But we've got a plan in place, and the work that we all sit down and talk about to put that plan in place. I've got a plan of what I want to deliver and what I want to take this football club to, and I won't be happy until I achieve that. That's something that I've got to do, and anybody that knows me, I've got that probably desire inside of me. When I set my mind to it, I want to go and achieve it, and that's what I want to go and achieve. And certainly for me as a football club, I think we can take this club to the next level now, and we've really got to kick on and work together as a group to be able to achieve that.